If you're watching this video, I'm assuming you're either a founder or a C-level executive of a growing company, and you want to know how to get expensive, probably really good quality designs done, but on a really tight budget, probably using freelancers, and yet want to produce the same quality that your high budget competitors are producing. This is actually possible, and I'm going to reveal you on this video. So how do you do this? The number one thing you need to get done is called a brand design guideline, or simply called a brand guideline. And once you get this done, this is going to be like a PDF with multiple pages that describe in detail how your logo is supposed to be used, what are the colors that you have to use for your brand, what fonts, what styles of fonts, what is the spacing, and all of that. Now it's going to have multiple sections, and one of the important sections that I like to emphasize is that there is a section called do's and don'ts in this brand design guidelines book. So how do you get this done? Brand design guidelines, and how much is it going to cost? It's going to cost you somewhere around $1,000 to $1,500. Now, depending on who you are, even that might feel like, wow, that's a lot of money. Especially, I think people get scared a little bit because for that money, you're not going to get something that you can immediately use. Because let's say you probably go hire somebody and give them like a $200 and you get them to do something, you might be like, oh, this is tangible and I can immediately use. Now, but then what happens is that you probably are seeing that that's not sustainable. The designs that come out of that price range and that kind of designer is going to give you all these kind of other problems, which is that that designer is probably not going to be reliable because they don't have the business skills to keep themselves uh, sustainably finding new clients. So they're not a business, right? So, and then if you go to an agency, the price is going to go up, but the agency is going to be consistent at least. Now, how do you counter this? Is with this method. So this upfront investment of around $1,000 to $1,500 is going to give you this brand design guidelines. How do you find this? You go to fiverr.com, go to their pro catalog, and you find out somebody who has already produced a brand design guidelines. You just go and search brand guidelines, and then it's going to bring you a bunch of designers. Go look at their portfolio, their samples, and find out if you like what you're seeing. Generally, you should know what you want. You cannot be like, hey, just go design me 5 to 10 different samples and I will pick, and we'll have this experimentation phase and we'll create something unique. No, that's not, you don't have the budget for that. You are not going to attempt anything like that, especially if you're serious about your business. um, Sorry for that. So what you should probably do is you should know what style you're going for roughly, and in my opinion it should be something that you can copy from another design, but not exactly copy. You can kind of imitate their look and feel, but have your own spin to it, which this designer will be able to do it. So you go to them and you say, hey, I like your work, can you create something similar for our business? But obviously they'll not create something that's a full copy, it'll be unique. And then they usually ask you a bunch of questions. If not, you need to be able to tell them things like 5 adjectives that are most suited for your brand. You can say what's your price range, or who's the audience you're going for, what are the emotions that you want to evoke, and things like that. Usually the designer should have a questionnaire. In case they don't, then it's better that you have all these things. Then you go to them and you tell them, okay, this is what we want, and then you give them some existing designs so that they can redo it in the new brand guidelines. And then you say, I don't need a new logo, because a lot of them give you a package where they say logo plus brand guidelines, and you don't want that in case you already have a logo. You can ask them to just define do's and don'ts of your existing logo, give them the existing logo file, and they'll be able to create a brand guideline. Along with it, you need to give them a list of things that you want them to produce along with a brand guideline. That's basically to say, demonstrate to me how you're going to use this brand guidelines to create brand collateral for me. Collateral meaning anything that is a tangible design asset, like your social media banner, ads, digital ads, I mean, and or it could be a printed form, it could be a letterhead, it could be a business card, anything. Now you need to give a list of these things, and then you say, hey, I need brand guidelines and I want you to design 1 or 2 variants of all of these things. When I talk about variants, I'm talking about dark and light variants, which is very common these days. But you just make a call based on your needs. Once that is done, you basically uh, have this repository of design that is with you, and usually this should go smooth depending on the designer. They'll produce a few things, make sure that you like what you're seeing, and then they'll roll it out to all these list of things that you wanted. In my case, we even wanted changes, and he was patiently doing it to a point. And then after that, you go to upwork.com, find your regular sustainable designer. Now, I want you to find somebody who's probably around $12 to $15 range, has good reviews, is not a fresher, is not, is got, he or she's got a decent amount of experience already. So, so yeah, that's it. And then they can start producing designs for you. You go, you give them, you host all of these files that you got from the first designer on a Google Drive or some Dropbox or something. And then you basically give it to them like a link and say, this is all my brand collateral and brand guidelines. And you can tell them what you want them to create next. In our case, it worked beautifully. It was such a great difference in how we deal with designers, because in the past it was like, oh, they produce something and you don't like it, and it's just a lot of back and forth, right? And what you're doing here is basically imitating the process that is between a senior and a junior designer in bigger agencies or bigger companies, where this is how they communicate among each other. And this brand design guideline is going to make the entire relationship so much happier for you and the designer, because the designer is going to be like, wow, finally somebody who speaks my language. And there's no ambiguity. And on top of that, you can also play creatively. You can ask them to produce things that are new, that are not part of the existing things, and they'll still be able to extrapolate it and start to give you things. Maybe there'll be some back and forth, but it won't be drastic, like completely different and off the charts. So this has worked beautifully in my case. I hope it works beautifully for you too. Do leave a comment if you have any questions, or if this worked for you, or if it didn't work for you. And if you like this video, obviously remember to like it. And if you want more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. Thank you.